Today I am finally reviewing the Lenovo Legion Slim 514 with a brand new microphone, so now it shouldn't sound like I'm recording in a garage anymore. I told you I'd review it eventually. This little guy is Lenovo's front runner in the 14-inch laptop space, and boy is it a fast runner. But with all the other 14-inch options out there, is it worth it or is it running behind? Well, that's what we're gonna find out in this video. And if you enjoy the video, please subscribe. The Slim 14's design is the definition of low-key. With this neutral color, you wouldn't be able to tell that it's a gaming laptop right away. The Legion branding is very subtle and doesn't scream RGB like some other brands. It does have a but at the end though, and the webcam sticks out a bit, which I don't really like the look of. And the amount of stickers is a bit ridiculous, but you can of course just take those off. But this is genuinely one of the most well-built laptops I have ever held. It's got a full aluminum body with a matte coating on top of it, and it makes use of that metal very well. I mean, this thing competes with laptops double its price in terms of build quality. I think this guy will last you a long time. And it doesn't really sacrifice weight for that, weighing in at just 1.75 kilograms. It's also relatively thin, so overall it's just a very manageable and well-built little package. It's got pretty good specs for a 14-inch laptop. Unfortunately, Lenovo hasn't updated the Slim 14 since Ryzen 7th gen, so this is the highest spec model I could find. It's also available in a Ryzen 9 model, which I'll have linked down in the description for if you want to buy that, but availability differs per region. This laptop has 105 watts available for its GPU, so that RTX 4060 is getting plenty of power. Unfortunately, this is the highest spec model you can get though, so there's no RTX 4070 model available. But this thing is filled to the brim with ports. And it's got a pretty unique layout, keeping most of the ports at the back of the laptop. And even more unique are its two USB-A ports, since one of them is meant for data and the other one stays on for power delivery, even when the laptop is turned off. This isn't really found on other laptops and is very handy for if you want to charge something, for example your phone, without having to turn your laptop on. The Slim 14's charger is pretty average sized, but it's a bit big for 170 watts. And it uses Lenovo's custom charger, which is fine. Some other Chinese electronics like electric scooters use this port as well though, so don't mix up your chargers, or you can say bye-bye to Granny's house. A classmate of mine actually killed his Lenovo Legion by sticking an electric scooter charger in there, so watch out with the chargers that you have. But it also just supports USB-C charging, so you could always use a smaller charger or even power banks. Lenovo is also well known for their amazing keyboards. My model only has a white backlight, but apparently it does have RGB in some regions. But these keys, holy moly do they feel good to type on. They do require a bit more force to press down than normal keys, so it does take a little time to get used to. But they're tactile, have good travel, and just feel great to type on. This could actually easily be my favorite keyboard on a laptop. The trackpad is pretty good too. You're able to press it down pretty high up, and it has a nice satisfying click. It's also made of glass, so it feels great to the touch. And it's big enough that your hand won't constantly reach the ends of the trackpad. It does rattle a bit when you tap on it, but other than that, it's pretty great. It's got an awesome high-resolution display as well, with a pretty unique size at 14.5 inches instead of just 14. I absolutely love that more and more laptops are getting OLED displays. It's got amazing colors, high contrast, and perfect inky blacks. OLEDs are pretty much almost the perfect panels. It's also got a high refresh rate at 120 Hz, which, combined with OLED's incredibly fast response times, gives you one of the smoothest gaming experiences you've probably ever had. And at 500 nits, it should get bright enough for outdoor use. I say should because it's not really the case with this laptop. It lacks any kind of anti-reflective coating, which means it is an absolute mirror. So anything bright like a sun, a lamp, or even just white or bright clothing will make the screen almost unusable. In dark rooms it's okay, but for me this is a pretty big deal since I use my laptop a lot on the go too. But its display hinge is pretty damn sturdy. Normally 180-degree hinges are pretty loose and sloppy, but this one is very tight and feels premium. Because of this, it also doesn't have any display wobble, and it won't move around when setting it down on the table or when you're using it on your lap. See, it doesn't move around even if I tap on it really hard. It's got some pretty good speakers. The clarity is very nice, but they don't get very loud. They're also pretty lacking in bass and are unfortunately on the bottom only, so if it's not sitting smoothly on a hard surface, it'll sound a bit poopy. But for regular use, it's probably good enough.
Yeah, mate, if you throw some meat on the barbie, I'll go to the servo and get myself a couple of beers, eh? I need a fucking stubby.
It's also got a hardware switch on the side of the laptop to physically turn the webcam on and off, which is nice to have. In Cinebench R23, it gets some pretty good scores despite only having a 7th gen Ryzen from 2023. And compared to other laptops, it's still performing really well. The same goes for TimeSpy, where it performs pretty well for its specs. It's just too bad that Lenovo doesn't have this laptop in an RTX 4070 configuration, as that would have been even faster. Now let's move on to some games.
Es ist casual. Was tryhardet ihr überhaupt? Du Alter, als wenn euer Leben...
Keiner tryhardet hier, Junge.
Was redest du? Schau dein Team an, Alter.
Rede
Alle kämpfen,
weiter,
die kleine
Junge. Rede weiter,
Hurensohn,
Junge.
5 wie du.
Was
Kleiner
macht denn dein
Hurensohn.
Team, Alter? Was macht denn
Was hat
dein
deine
Team?
Mutter
Dein
gemacht?
Schwester?
Mate, I fucking just dropped into the shit show. Oh my god! I literally dropped onto one of them fucking tanks, oh man.
Sending in an eagle.
Bend over, please. Time.
What?
Bend over.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thank you, thank you.
This guy handled all of my games no problem. In some games I did have to turn down the resolution to 1080p so I could get a little higher FPS, but 1080p on a 14-inch laptop display is perfectly fine. The CPU might be 3 generations old already, but it had no problems whatsoever in games, and it didn't bottleneck the RTX 4060 in here. Again, I really wish this thing had up to an RTX 4070 though, because it definitely has the wattage and the cooling for it. But even with an RTX 4060, this guy handles everything just fine. Now battery life is good, but not amazing. To test battery life, I continuously play a YouTube video with the following settings. The display is at 100% brightness and 60 Hz. The keyboard backlight is on, and the laptop is in iGPU mode, so the graphics card is disabled. And in this test it lasted 7.5 hours, which is pretty usable. Keep in mind that in real world use it's more like 4 to 5 hours though, and if you're planning on playing games on the battery, well, just don't play games on your battery, because most laptops last like 1 to 2 hours max. Fan noise was pretty okay during loads. I've definitely heard a lot worse. It helps that its fans have a pretty soothing sound to them and don't produce any kind of high-pitched noises or something like that. But Lenovo's quiet fan profile is really good, since it's actually quiet during normal use and not loud at all while gaming. The GPU does get power limited in this mode, but in my opinion that's pretty much worth it for a more quiet experience. They just did an overall very good job tuning these fans. And you can see from the temperatures that the fans really work well. The CPU never went above 85 degrees, which is very nice for a gaming laptop, and the GPU never went above 80 degrees. The cooling system in this laptop is actually very overkill, and it really made me wish that it had an RTX 4070 or even 4080 model. In terms of upgradeability, it's pretty okay. It's got a Wi-Fi card slot and 2 M.2 slots, which is double that of most laptops. But unfortunately, the memory is soldered, so you're stuck with whatever RAM configuration you bought it with. As for pricing, you can find it for around 1,300 to 1,500 bucks, which is okay. It's basically impossible to find one in Europe, so I basically had to get this one from the black market. This laptop has quite a bit of competition in this space, and in terms of pricing, it's smack down in the middle. Cheaper 14-inch laptops do exist, but they're definitely worse. And more expensive ones exist as well, but they're... Well, we'll be comparing this one with the Zephyrus G14 in the next video, so I can't give an answer on that yet. Subscribe so you won't miss that video. So is the Lenovo Legion Slim 514 worth it? Yeah, kinda. This is one of the most well-built laptops I've ever felt, and it performs pretty well. But it certainly isn't alone in the 14-inch laptop space, and it has some fierce competition. For example, the Asus TUF A14 is the exact same price with a better CPU, double the RAM, 4 times more storage, better software, better speakers, and all of that in a lighter package. It does have an LCD IPS display instead of an OLED like this one, but at least it doesn't reflect everything behind you. But Legion laptops are well known for their reliability, so it'll last you a long time. And for an all-around machine, this laptop will serve pretty much anyone really well. Even for office use, as it doesn't scream, "Look at my rainbows, I am a gamer." Just keep in mind that it isn't in a vacuum, and there are a lot better options out there, like the TUF A14. I'll have both of their Amazon links in the description though, if you want to buy either one of them. But the Zephyrus G14 is priced very similar to this guy, and it directly competes with it. And they're also pretty damn similar in terms of build quality. So let's compare them in the next video. I'll see you all then. Bye bye.